right.
All right.
This is my very first interviewee. And as my mom told me to say, so this is going to be cringy at first, but maybe it'll stick. This is my first prodiGAL, Ansley. Yay! This one's super special for me. Ansley's one of my very, 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 very good friends. So, Ansley, you just say your name, siblings, all the things. Just give a brief.
Okay. My name's Ansley Kate Brissendine. I have a cat. I'm a cat mother. I have 2 older sisters who are also cat mothers, and they terrorized my bunny last night, whose name is Pebble. My mom is my best friend, and
I'm not your best friend.
my mom is my best friend, and you are my best friend. And silly girl. What else? I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure we'll get nitty gritty with it.
So me and Ansley met in 5th grade, so I just wanted to ask if you even remember what was the first interaction, because I do not remember.
Let me tell you. The only time I ever knew who you were was when your name got called at Carline. That's the only time I ever heard your name. Next thing I know, I'm at your house at your birthday party. It was one of those blips of consciousness where I wake up, I'm conscious and I'm at your house. Never talked to you before in my life, and I remember we had so much fun.
We did.
It was so normal. We did.
I was at her house all of middle school. We would always go there, ride the ATV, all the things. But yeah, so all of middle school, and then I can't remember the exact timeline for this either, but 9th, 10th grade, pretty close. At least half of 10th grade.
Really close.
9th grade for sure.
10th grade, we're just friends,
Yeah. It just kind of drifted a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your spiritual upbringing look like? What did that look like in your home?
So I was raised in a Christian household. Mom and Dad very, very, showed me Jesus. They did. My dad is just a dad. He's a normal guy, follows God, I would say. You're not going to get too deep with him, but he does what he needs to do.
Yeah.
My mom showed me the love of Christ, genuinely. She
homeschooled y'all for a while.
I was homeschooled until 3rd grade, so I got put in public school, and I remember the first, I call them blips of consciousness. That's what I call memories, because it's just little visions, little pictures you have in your head. And I'll remember I have memories of my mom teaching in homeschooling, Jesus first, then others, then
yourself, the joy thing, probably.
Or was it? Yeah, it was Jesus, God, whatever. God, Jesus, same thing. God, others, and then strangers, then you.
Yeah.
You're at the bottom, which that's good. You need to teach your kid that, others first.
Yeah.
Anywho, and I was raised in a Pentecostal church. I was no stranger to the power of the Holy Spirit. So, they go crazy in that Pentecostal church, let me tell you. But I think it can be really good, It's good. I never had, I always, knew of Jesus. I knew who Jesus was. I knew.
She was very knowledgeable.
Yeah,
if we had conversations about God or the Bible, she would know.
Yeah.
It was head knowledge.
It was.
Knew.
I was raised with that. That was truth to me.
Yeah.
That was truth.
Yeah. You didn't know anything else.
Yeah, when you're taught that's truth to you, but also I never really committed myself to the Lord. It was more of I'll talk about when I got saved.
Yeah.
When I got saved. Not when I got saved. Saved.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord. You go to church camps, things like that, where you just are around that fellowship, and you're this is it. I need it. I need heaven. But it was words, not actions, and it was the I'm a sinner prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the head knowledge, not the heart knowledge.
Yeah, it was the head knowledge, not the
There's
heart
a lot
knowledge.
that changes from that.
It was words, not actions.
To there.
It wasn't a heart change, ever. And like I remember there were times after I got saved where I was like, okay, now I need to buy a Bible. Like I have to buy a Bible. I'm gonna have to do that. That's gonna be an obligation now. Never rolled around to it.
Yeah.
Never changed anything about my life because I didn't do anything bad.
That's what I was about to say. Our friend group, we didn't really do anything.
I was around y'all. Y'all were Christians. We
Yeah.
never had any desire to break rules or get into drugs. Nothing like that. Because we knew how to have fun sober.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think saved me. Like, kind of, I'm glad God gave me that because I know how to have fun sober.
Right.
And I think that pulled me out of a lot of need for substance.
So do you know how old you were when you said the salvation prayer? We'll just say it
I said the salvation prayer so many times. Like I got y'all. When you grow up in a church, things get like I don't know. I can't even explain it because I had gotten baptized before I said the salvation prayer, but I've said the salvation prayer so many times in my life. I remember I can't remember exactly how old I was. I got baptized when I was probably like 10 or 11. So obviously I said the salvation prayer for that at a kids camp before that. Got baptized. Nothing really changed. 4 or 5 years later, when I was 15, went to another camp. Salvation prayer again. Jesus saved me.
Yeah.
Nothing changed. And then
and it's not like nothing changed as in you went off the rails.
Yeah.
It was just like you almost felt like you needed to say it
God.
again. Yeah, like there wasn't fruit that made you say, "Oh, I'm comfortable now."
There was no revelation.
Yeah. Like your eyes were not like.
There was recognition, but no revelation.
Yeah.
So I never truly accepted that I am so in need of God.
Right.
Because I never did anything that bad. And I was actually thinking about this. Actually, I've been thinking about it today. Funny thing.
Funny thing.
I gotta put this into words now. That's a hard thing to do. Here's a thought, and this complete from the devil, from the enemy. Complete from the enemy. It's how come people who are about to die get to say, Lord Jesus, you're my Christ and Savior, and get to go to heaven? Yeah, I have to say it and then live for him. You know what I mean? Like, how come I don't get to just say it and be saved?
Right.
Like, why do I have to do all the other stuff?
Yeah.
And I never saw it as my duty to do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I saw it as I said the words and good.
Yeah.
But really...
And there's actually, in the prodigal son story, there's a difference between when he comes home, he says, I'll be your servant. Like, I'm not even worthy to be your son. And the father puts a ring on his finger that shows sonship. So he's basically saying, you're going to serve me because you love me, not because you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. That's the difference.
I lacked love of God. There was no love for him. There was recognition of his existence. Demons know that Jesus is Lord and they shudder.
Right.
What difference does that make me?
Right.
Obviously, he died for us. That doesn't mean he's your Lord, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know.
Yeah, I know, bro.
But fast forward through a time where God was nowhere in my life.
Okay, can I ask you a question before you go?
Yeah.
Before you go. Okay. Do you know of a moment, which I kind of think you're saying the opposite of a moment. Maybe it was just a generic all of your life. But can you think of a moment that you just started to feel like, okay, not I'm done with this, but like I'm going to just stop worrying about it? And it just kind of just shifted a mentality to where you just kind of didn't. You would say you believed. You would do all the things. You would go to church. You didn't have a problem with it. But you were just going through the motions because you were just sick of the feeling of like, what is this?
Yeah.
Do you have that moment?
I think I was so incredibly lukewarm.
Mm-hmm.
So incredibly lukewarm. Lukewarm. You're not even.
Tell them about the head example.
Oh yes,
That's lukewarm.
I was when I went to Passion. This preacher
Which we'll talk about Passion.
This preacher named Earl. Earl's my man. Like he gets that spirit going. I couldn't tell you his last name though, but I love Earl.
It's okay, Earl.
And he was saying like, a lot of times you'll say, "Oh, these girls, they're doing a lot worse than me, so it's okay if I'm doing a little less bad. If I only go out on Fridays, but they're going out all week." You're either turned to God or you're turned away from Him.
Do your head.
Here's your friends. Here's where you're at. You're not turned to God. You're either turned to Him or you're not.
There
is no side-eyeing God. There is only you're turned to Him or you're turned away from Him.
I love that.
And let me tell you that. We'll get on to Passion in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll jump in. Let's jump back. Okay.
Backtrack.
Yeah.
Okay. There was never I can't identify a time where I was like, yeah, this is not my thing. It was more of a, you can only go to church so long and not live it out for so long until you don't feel like you belong there anymore.
Yeah.
It was really, for a lot of time when I was going to church, you invited me to your Wednesday services, and that was about all the church I had besides going. My parents were going through divorce, so I think I would go to Christ Chapel. I can't really remember.
You would sometimes.
It was after COVID, so it was
weird time.
Didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
So I would probably just stay home with her most times. So it was probably like every other weekend, maybe.
Yeah.
And I would go with you and Katie.
How old were you when your parents got divorced?
I was 16 when the divorce was finalized.
So that was what, junior year?
Junior year, starting to turn hair black Ansley. I put my phases of life into hair changes because it says a lot.
Who do you know you're sitting with? Pink hair every time something goes wrong. Pink. Anyway, so black hair Ansley.
We're starting to get there, black hair Ansley. By the time that divorce was finalized, her hair was black.
So, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but do you think the divorce had something to do with that?
The divorce definitely, it takes your mind off of what your mind needs to be on. And I definitely, change is hard. Mm-hmm. Because when your parents are in different households, you now have to figure it out.
And you're so old.
And you have to appeal to both sides. Yeah. So I was a middle ground for a lot because my sisters both off at college. Right. So I was the middle ground. I was, okay, I have to go to my dad's every weekend. Like, I have to keep peace.
Right. That's a lot to carry.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like I was just numb in that season. There wasn't much going on. Mental health went downhill, but like, who doesn't at that age? Let's be honest.
Hormones are out the wazoo.
Let's be honest. Who doesn't go through it a little bit? I'll tell you what, people who got Jesus, that's for sure. Anyways,
got that solid rock.
I do, but let me tell you, girl, that wind was blowing me away.
So that was junior year, but had you gotten into, like, had you really started doing anything at that time, or was it just turmoil in your mind, like, what is happening?
So at that phase of my life, I started, I see, it is so real in the Bible where He calls it seasons of life, because for several months you're the same. 2-3 months you're the same. You're in the exact same place. And that's how I remember that, like, November to February, I was in the same place. It was a constant cycle of just nothingness. And overeating, binging, probably just kind of wallowing. I wouldn't really hang out with anybody. I remember that was kind of a harder season with dance for me because I just didn't feel really connected with anyone. And
this is secluded.
It's isolated.
Yeah, secluded, isolating
season.
Yeah.
And yeah, isolated from everybody. Really, I didn't really talk to anybody. And my mom says I was strong, but it wasn't that I was strong. I just didn't talk about it.
Right. You suppressed it.
Yeah.
Put on a good face.
Yeah, I didn't really, but I didn't hit rock bottom. Like, that might have been bottom for my life, but I could have been worse, and I thank God for keeping me from getting it worse, from getting to a darker place than I was, because a lot of the time it wasn't me, it was the Lord, but I'm too self-aware of a person to let myself go too far.
Right.
And
I mean, look where you were raised. You had a great home.
Yeah.
You were blessed in that regard. We both were.
I was blessed on blessings when I was growing up.
And you did have a mom that did care, you had a dad that did care.
It's one of those things where you have to acknowledge the good in your life.
Yeah.
You have to be grateful for what you do have, and I was grateful for my mom. And you can only wallow in depression so long before it comes selfishness.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like
focus.
It's all about
your focus onto you. That's the definition of it.
Yeah, it is. You're
or the defining factor, not the definition. I didn't mean to say that.
You're just sitting in lies. And
So that was the beginning.
That was the beginning.
So that was beginning of junior year.
Yeah,
possibly.
And then to this point, I've never done any substance. I don't know why. I see it start when I have my first smoke of weed. I'm not kidding you, because that was the beginning of that season of my life.
Yeah.
When I was, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
You know.
So when was that time frame?
You
don't have to give us dates, but
in May.
Just following along.
I was in May. So.
May going into our senior year.
May going into the summer before senior year.
Okay.
It was a void. Right before then, it was just a void. I couldn't tell you what happened because there was really nothing.
Yeah.
Just really nothing. Like, it's just emptiness. Just going through the motions. You know, same old. Whatever. I don't even know. Yeah, I remember I dabbled both with guys and substance. Yeah. It was like first time breaking rules for me. Not that I was really breaking rules. I wasn't a bad kid. I didn't do anything to make my mom mad or anything, but it was like that first step.
Yeah.
Away from the life I knew, from the friends I knew.
Like the plank on a boat. You just did your one step.
Yeah, I'm one step.
You've always been in the boat.
Yeah, I've always been in the boat.
Wait, what's that?
I've always had people hold me in the boat.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to the plank. Yeah. Trust me, I found the water, girl. Anyways, actually no, I hung on and God pulled me up before I got in the water. Anyways, yeah, I was in the bar 2 years ago today. That's crazy. 16 years old. Giving someone an ID who's not even my face. That's so crazy. This world blows my mind. Anyway.
So you went to Athens a lot, or in bars a lot, all summer.
Yeah.
And these were her sisters taking her.
Yeah. Emma was going through it too. My oldest sister, who I'm very close with, she's been almost on the same spiritual journey as me. Though, I will say, I don't think she definitely wanted to follow God a lot longer than I did, but I think we both full sent for God at the same time.
Right.
Summer goes by, and then we go into senior year. I don't really have any friends. For a long time. I didn't have any friends until second semester of college.
Okay.
So we're right now. we're right now. Yeah. Which y'all were still like sort of friends. Like we were in classes together, so of course we're gonna talk.
But there was a change in dynamic.
But we'll
talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Okay. So there were 2 months. Where I had a vape. I don't know how to put this into words, but there were 2 months where I smoked my own vape. And I think that says a lot. Like, I bought it myself. I went to that gas station, didn't get card, and got it myself. Mm-hmm. And have other people giving it to me. Mm-hmm. that was a step.
Like it was your personal decision.
It was my personal decision. It wasn't a try this.
Yeah.
It wasn't a here. Yeah.
You had to have ownership of that.
Yeah, I did have ownership of that. And my ex, who was the only relationship I've been in, he was one of my few friends. We were friends for a while. Before we started dating. And he was one of my few friends that I had, but it was kind of an unspoken friendship that no one really knew about, but we were pretty close friends. Really having friends outside of that. And I will say the vape, because the vape brought me to the bathroom, the girls' bathroom at lunch. And then that's where I hung out at lunch.
Oh.
So that, yeah.
I was in your book. You went to the bathroom every day.
Girl, that's what I was doing in that bathroom. And
I didn't put that.
Yeah.
Like, she likes the bathroom, I guess.
So sometimes I would just go to the bathroom
Yeah.
just to go. Anywho, but let's be for real. I would spend time in the bathroom at lunch, making new friends, and I became friends with this foreign girl. She's really sweet. Like, I still follow her on socials and everything. Never pretty surface level friendship.
Yeah.
Like I was pretty surface level. So, of course, my new friendships are going to be surface level. And it's kind of crazy to think, because I am not a surface level person.
No.
I'm really not. I can't do surface level. But at that time, I didn't want anything deeper.
Yeah.
I didn't need
You couldn't handle that, even if you wanted to.
I didn't need it. I didn't need anything but just, we'll share this, throw this vape around, and talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing important. Yeah, I just made some just irresponsible decisions. I went to this party. This stupid guy's doing stupid, mean things. Really. And moments like that, I really do thank God for giving me a strong-willed personality.
Yeah.
Like a strong-willed heart. Because there were times where I could have been beaten down to a pulp in, I don't even know, at the worst of the worst places, but I never let other people dictate my reaction.
Yeah.
You called me that one time. You said you're not super reactive to things. I remember there was one time you told me that, and I was like, that was probably one of the most complimentive things anyone's ever told me in my life, and I kept that with me, like, because I don't like to be a reactive person. I like to think about it first, and I think I carried that subconsciously with me from like, no, I'm not super reactive.
Yeah.
You know.
What about? Let's talk about your relationship.
Okay.
So then we can get to the most important part. Yeah. We want to talk about the aftermath.
Yes.
That's the beauty.
This is just, yes.
So let's just go over your relationship.
There's been more happening in my life in 3 months than it has in 3 years. So, okay. So, roll forward a little. Dye my hair red.
Another hair change.
Roll forward. I got with my ex. It was one of those things where we're pulling friendship into love, you know? And I never had that before. I never had a romantic relationship before. And of course, he had a girlfriend, so that made him more attractive to me. Because it's like, no, that's mine.
Yeah.
Like, it was like that. And don't do that. The Lord's been working on me in that kind of way where it's like, it was, I don't know if it was a lustful thing, but it was a jealousy thing.
For you.
For me, personally. But he was also my really good friend. And I don't regret that relationship because it grew me in a lot of ways, and the fact that I can look back at it and learn lessons from it.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of lessons. Anyways, so when I got with him, he was my only friend for that whole relationship.
So your only friend now turns into your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Which brings a whole new level.
And I'm not saying that he made me do anything. He didn't dictate my actions.
Yeah.
But he did influence them.
Yeah.
He influenced my mindset on life. And it really showed me how much of influence a man has over a woman. And vice versa. Because if whatever mindset your man has on life, that's probably going to be how you see things too. Let's be for real.
And if you don't, it's gonna be a problem.
Yes,
like,
and if you don't,
if it's a toxic situation.
I remember he really didn't like any of y'all. He did not like any of y'all. He didn't.
Shocker.
He literally, Katie bothered him so much.
And here's the detail to add now. She went from being okay with us in yearbook to not being okay with us in yearbook.
Yeah, I
and
would
it was
bothered.
around the time.
Yeah,
like not necessarily me, because I just would whatever, but Katie especially.
Katie bothered me.
I mean, she would snap off at the drop of a hat. Like it just was not a good. It was not healthy.
I let her get under my skin a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was about it for me for a while, and through the summer, we were with each other every single day.
Yeah.
That summer.
Got super obsessive.
Obsessive. Yeah, unhealthily.
Y'all both stayed at Gordon.
I did. I was going to go.
Gordon is our local community college if you don't happen to live here.
I was gonna go to Georgia College at first.
I'm so glad you didn't.
And the only thing that was going to take me there was Audrey, my sister.
Yeah.
Was Audrey and her friends, because I didn't have any friends. So why wouldn't I go to the people who I knew were going to have fun with, you know? But when I got in that relationship, that was more important. And
I think that's such a picture of God working out what's meant for you.
No, literally, like...
Because she's at Gordon this year, I'm at Gordon this year. She has gotten so involved.
Yes, it's crazy.
Anyways.
We'll get there. That 8 months all blurred together for me for 7 months. Because it was just him.
Yeah.
There was a time when my freshman year of college started where he told me, he was like, you need to have something you like to do. Like, you need to have your own time. Because he saw that I was feeling lost. And he, regardless of his issues, I can only say so much bad about him because he was good to me. Not good for me, but he was good to me. And he was good to my BC, me.
Her before Christ
self. Anyways, but.
So it probably led you down.
It did.
More of a path that seemed like, oh, I have something now. But then you had nothing.
Yeah.
Because you literally had nothing.
had nothing but him.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you have something that you worship.
Yeah.
You have something that you revolve love around and you revolve your life around.
Yeah.
And a big part of my life is saying I'll do something and not doing it.
Say that slower.
I said a big part of my life is saying I'm going to do something and not doing it.
I was like, what?
No.
That's probably my ears being stopped up. But.
So I had a early life crisis before my birthday, which was in last October, where I was like, oh my gosh, who am I? Big question mark. Because that's what we should be asking. Who am I?
Yeah.
That's what haunts us.
Yeah.
Who am I? And that's what continuously we want to prove to others and to ourselves. Who am I?
Yeah.
I was big into style, into fashion. Not super big into it, but in the fact that it gave me a form of identity for a while. Wearing all black, being a cool girl.
Yeah.
You know, wearing headphones in the hallway with my boyfriend who had good style too. Like, that was my identity for a while. Just looking cool.
Yeah.
There was nothing more to it, really.
Yeah.
And then, you get to the point where you're like, okay, who I really am I? Because your clothes won't only get you so far, babe. And I talked to my mom outside one night. I was like, I know God exists, but I don't know which God it is. That's what I said. And let me tell you, she said she cried a lot after that talk. Because what she spoke to me was that God is love, and at the end of the day, like, it is Jesus. And she didn't really, she could have probably spoken it a little more clear that Jesus is Christ, but she said it's about relationship with him. And that's true. It is about relationship with God. He just wants to know us.
Yeah.
And we'll come to that later. So, I broke up with my boyfriend. I quit my job. I cried a lot. I
questioning your existence.
questioned my existence. Just like, bleh.
Yeah.
He showed up when I got my new job at Honeywood, which is a little farm cafe I work on. I reconnected with Marifel, one of our old friends from dance, but I really connected. Like we hung out and we talked and we talked and we talked. Jesus was brought up in those talks. Neither one of us were really had a relationship with him, but we knew he was the truth.
That's crazy.
We knew he was the truth. And I remember there was a point where we're like, we don't know much, but we know Jesus is the Son of God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he died for our sin. Like, we never really got super into it where it's, the joy you get out of knowing the true love for him, but it was acknowledgement. And that was the first step. I acknowledged that Jesus is the Son of God. Like, yeah, I know it's the truth. I know the Bible is the truth. That's what I was raised upon, but I know in my heart that it's the truth. And then I was at a point where I was like, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
This Christianity thing, I'll get there eventually. I'll dabble in it. Maybe I'll do a prayer, but
yeah,
I'll get more serious later on.
Yeah. And this is that self-aware side, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, even telling your mom, I know there's a God, I don't know which one.
Yeah.
It's like you're analyzing that. It's going to Marifel, y'all talking, like, Jesus is the way, but I don't know how to get there yet.
Yeah.
Then saying he is the Son of God. I don't know how to get there. It's the self-awareness, though. Yeah. The way God knit you intentionally for your story to look the way it does. Mm-hmm. That's the beauty. Like, just constantly being like, wait. Like, you don't just do things.
No. There was a certain point where I was in my BC self, in the things, but I always had, any basis of my opinions on things, the biblical side would always pop up. And I'd always be like, how do I get rid of that? I need to get rid of that because that's creating a problem here. It wasn't really conviction, but it was like, I don't want to have that mindset because apparently that's offending and that doesn't line up with liberal whateverness. I still wasn't living out anything, and then it was right at the beginning of January. And
okay, I'll stop.
And Emma told me she was going to Passion. I wasn't planning on going to Passion. She was going to go with her friend and stay with her friend in Atlanta. And then my mom texted Emma and said, would Ansley want to go? This was 2 days before Passion.
2 days.
2 days before a 3-day conference.
Everyone knows you have to plan to go to Passion 6 months at least before because the tickets just go.
2 days ahead, Emma looks over. I'm sitting on the couch with her. She says, Mom asked her to go to Passion. I said, sure.
The fact you even said sure.
I just said sure.
Where's that from?
I was like, whatever. And when you look at Passion, it's the most intimidating thing for a non-believer. So I'm going in there. I don't really think I'm prayed at this point. Really. I hadn't even prayed on my food at this point. And that's I know that's not a big deal, but I didn't really dabble.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
It was more like, I'm gonna, did I? Anyways, so I get there, amazing worship, but it's still kind of a lot, but there's so many people at Passion, you can just blend in.
Yeah, right.
It's a good thing.
I mean, not everyone there is a believer, let's be honest.
55,000 people, honey. But
I'll
tell you, a lot of them walked out. A believer. A follower, a devotee? Disciple. Okay. Anywho. So, let me tell you. The Lord anointed every song, every sermon, those 3 days. Every single sermon, not only did it bring in what the last one said, but it just did more and more every time. And it was amazing. It was truly God working. The second day, It was right before lunch. It was the morning. Because I remember I told my sister, Emma, and Bree, like, right before we had our food, I was like, I just got saved. And they're like, oh my gosh. But it was a Jesus moment for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't a I'm saved moment. It was a
you met him face to face.
I encountered him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I truly felt him. And I just understood. It was the first time I really understood him.
Yeah.
Or had an idea of
Yeah.
it. Because every day I understand him more. Every day I grow closer to him. Every day he reveals more to me who he truly is.
Yeah.
But it was the first time where I really recognized and understood the extent of what he did for us.
Yeah.
And what he did for me.
Yeah, it became personal.
It became personal.
He died for Ansley.
He died for me. He saw me on that cross. Which still blows my mind.
Yeah.
It still blows my mind every day. I don't know. I think it wasn't like an exact moment where I was like, all right, you know, that made sense, so now I'm saved. No, it was a build-up of every word spoken.
Yeah.
Because it was truth. It's truth. When you're sitting in sermons like that, you're being fed truth.
Yep.
And you can't walk your way around it because you know it's truth.
Yeah.
And you know he's the way.
Yeah.
And you just feel the Holy Spirit. And at that point, it's like if you aren't accepting, you are denying.
Yeah.
You're rejecting him if you're not accepting him.
And your whole story was a build-up of the Lord preparing you.
It
because
was.
It's not like God goes, all right, I'll just sit here and just wait a while. No. He is working
there.
So many details out.
So
even through being at a party, having your own date, having a boyfriend that's not the best for you, like you said. I mean, just all these things. He's working in those moments to then have you ready to have your eyes peeled back.
Oh, peeled back. Let me tell you, it was like the third day. This was even after I was saved again. I asked for forgiveness. This was even after that. It was like just a light shine over my head. It's like you just see.
Yeah.
You genuinely just see. He says, I'm the light because he is.
Well, I mean, and I know I already talked about this, but that's the point of this thing. In the prodigal son story, the last verse of what I read yesterday, so I think it's 11 through 25, it says, my son was dead, he is now alive. My son was blind, he now can see. Let's celebrate.
Let's celebrate!
Like, that's the picture they began to celebrate.
Good.
That's the beauty.
He genuinely turned me around. I finally grabbed his hand and he did a 360 twirl, and I wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Because I sat the third day, I was sitting, we were waiting for the worship to start, and I was sitting there and I was just looking around. I was just in thought. I was just looking around. And Emma likes to do this thing. This is her way of saying, what's going on? She says, are you okay? Like that. And I'm like, I'm okay. Like, obviously I'm okay. But in that moment, I was looking over my present life. I was about to go back to the same life as a changed person.
Right.
That's a lot to take in. That's the thing that people struggle the most with.
Yeah.
Choosing God is letting go of what you're used to. Letting go of what you do have.
Yeah.
Letting go of the people who aren't leading you to him. And letting go of your desire. Because before I got saved, it was like that moment where it's like, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. Not to be saved by God, but to live for God. To live for him.
Your who am I was answered.
And then my who am I was answered. I am a daughter of the one and only by the blood of Jesus Christ. Okay, anyways. And then it goes back to what Gabe said. He's our BCM
minister or something.
Well, he's over
college minister.
And he's like, a lot of times people want to change their destination, but they're not willing to change their direction.
So they want heaven.
But I saw it for the first, they want heaven, but they don't want the rest of it because it means you got to follow rules. Baby, he's protecting you.
But I think it's the difference of your eyes are open. You are a son and a daughter. You love him.
Yes.
Versus that just seems like too much.
Yes.
Because you'll go from like, I don't know how I'm going to get to that point, to like, I'm there. Like, and that's what, like, it's a supernatural thing.
It
like,
is.
you can't explain. It's not like,
supernatural.
well, you do this step and this step and this step, and then you'll get there. No. You don't know when it's going to happen. It could happen in a day bathroom. It could happen at a conference. It could happen while you're driving. Like, it's a supernatural where God says she's ready. Snaps his finger. God. And you're like, oh. Wait. And your whole life is different.
It is. It's completely different because your heart has been changed.
Yeah.
You have been changed.
Yeah.
I don't like it when people say, God makes me better. No, he makes you different. Like,
you gotta abandon
you
everything.
He doesn't take what you have and add on to it. He takes what you have and changes you around.
Yeah.
He takes what you have and starts over.
Yeah.
And uses that past so that you can connect with other people.
Yeah.
And when I had that moment with God, it was a moment where I was like, I'm not gonna be lukewarm.
Yeah.
I'm following you. I'm walking the path. I'm gonna walk the path.
Yeah.
And I knew I was gonna have to go home and get involved with BCM, with whatever I could get involved with. During that sitting, pondering over my life moment, I saw you.
Oh gosh.
And I saw how I perceived you when I was lost, and how that is how I will now be perceived.
Freaking wacko, that's annoying.
No, like, because you want people, non-believers want so badly to look at someone who gives love and who lives a direct path. They want to say, you think you're all that. You think you're better than us. You're self-righteous. No, God made you righteous. And that's what you were working towards.
I mean, look at Jesus.
Yes.
Everyone hated him. They couldn't even, I mean, obviously he had those beloved people that adored him, but most people hated him. Hated him.
So, like, who does he think he is?
How can you hate him?
Yeah, like, he's just giving love.
Which he was claiming to be something that they were prepared for, but they were not prepared for. Because he was saying, I'm the Son of God. I am, aka I am him. I am God in the flesh. And they weren't ready to hear that. They were not, their ears were not open. So as much as the 400 years that their families preparing, Messiah's coming,
they were not discerned by the Spirit.
Yeah. So he wasn't just, he was truth. He was hard truth to hear if you weren't ready to hear it. Yeah. So he did have a, but like, it's just like, he wants so much for you. He wants the best for you. And they hated him. Bullet off what you have, like, what he has opened the doors for you since.
Wow.
Like, just name them.
So, we got Thrive. I'm repping right now.
So what is that?
Thrive is our young adults group at the First Baptist Barnesville.
We love it.
It was your first time with me, right? Or had you gone before?
I don't know. I definitely started. No, it was my first time with you.
Okay, so we went together for the first time. Coincidence? I think not, Lord.
No.
I think not.
Nope.
I think not. Now we love Thrive Thursday because, let me tell you, Alan Smith, the Lord speaks through that man. It is just,
he's so good.
It is just all the good things of fellowship put together.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely like a rarity to find.
Yeah.
And I'm just so blessed that God has given us that.
Oh, sorry, but I thought you were going on to the next one.
He's given me friendships, true friendships. He reconnected me with you. He gave me Jocelyn. He gave me so many people through Thrive.
I was like, honestly, I thought you were
like this.
No,
okay. I'm genuinely like, it's like my spirit's awake. Like, I'm myself. You know?
You are yourself.
I'm myself.
This is how you're supposed to be.
It's so supposed to be.
It's what he created you to be.
It's so real when you recognize your identity in Christ, you become you.
Yeah.
And you become more of you every day because it's who he's calling you to be. And it's so good. I love it. Okay.
Thrive, friends.
Thrive, friends. So we went, I feel like there's more.
BCM.
Um,
I think.
We went on, I went on a spring retreat weekend trip. Very good. I actually connected with some people. I really did. Let me tell you, God is so intentional because now he's opened a door to me interning for 2 months at FEC Brunswick.
This
coming summer for 2 months, serving him in his house. And like, who would have known? He did, obviously.
It was October. Who am I?
October. Who?
January, February, March, April. What?
What?
Okay, God, I see you. Like, man.
And it's not things I can really put on my finger, but
yeah.
even in the past 3 months, I feel like because I have humbly come before him, and I choose to seek him each day. Of course, there's going to be days where you're like, I should have done that and I didn't, but because I'm seeking him, he genuinely is like, he answers prayers. You ask him, give me opportunity to speak your name, give me opportunity to spread your love. You get that.
He wants you to do that.
He wants you to do that. He calls you to do that. Something that I've carried with me. It was one of the first, when I first opened up my Bible after being, after finding God. I found Galatians. Galatians is where I started out. That's a great place to start out because I remember I read that verse. It was like, am I here to please man? No. If I were here to please man, I would not be a servant of God. And that has carried me. Even though, I mean, obviously I found he's revealed so much more truth to me. It's like, you have to put... See, today I was in Salvation Army. And there was this woman. And I was like, I feel like there's like something you need right now. I turned to her and I was like, I really just feel like a sense that you need a prayer right now. She was like, yeah, we're moving back in the house. There's a lot of renovations. I would love for you to pray. And she was one of those people where it's like, she's one of those people where it's like, you don't really want to say that because you don't look like it. You're probably follower or anything, which I'm not trying to stereotype, but sometimes you genuinely can tell.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can sense it. But it's just little moments where I was like, I just want you to know, like, the Lord loves you. Like, he wanted me to speak to you in this moment. She's like, thank you. It's little moments like that where you put love for others above fear of offending them.
Yeah.
And I saw a video of Alios today. She was like, you just need to speak it. Because we're not here to worry about other people's feelings.
Yeah.
And that is just, that's so real.
Yeah. And especially when his spirit is pushing on you.
Do
it because you're gonna hate that you missed the opportunity. Like, I will use the word hate. You will eat yourself up the rest of the day, the rest of the week, knowing, oh, I should have talked to her. I should have said that. I should have done that.
Because
and you don't.
You may be the only person they will encounter that shows them God.
Yeah.
You have no guarantee that person will ever come across another Christian in their life.
Yeah. Take the opportunity. The Lord is pushing it for a reason.
We
be bold. There's a reason for boldness in Christ. Like, He will give you the strength. Okay. So these are just quick little questions. What book of the Bible are you reading right now?
So, I'm actually flipping around right now.
What book of the Bible are you reading? So, let's...
No, I do this thing where I'm like, I like to flip around, but right now,
I said book /book. So.
Right now I'm in Proverbs, mostly. And then I'll go back to, like, I'm finishing out, or sort of. I've started a lot of books. It's just a matter of.
It's hard.
It is, because finding that structure is hard. Like, where do I go?
Yeah. But it doesn't look like a certain way.
Yeah, there's no certain way to do it. Like, because I do prayer receive, and he does give it to me.
Yeah.
When I ask him, and
the Lord will change your desires.
He will, and there will be a time when I'm reading straightforward through. But right now,
yep,
I'm flipping him where he wants me to flip.
Yep,
and he's working.
Okay, what is a character trait of God that is resonating with you at the moment?
Character trait of God. He is almighty. He is sovereign. Girl, lately there is just the fact that he is all-knowing. That is what sat with me today. I'm following a God. I may not know, but I'm following a God who does know.
I thought today, I'm like, how does he not get overwhelmed?
Like, he knows. He's already set out every single thing.
Right?
He's already done with.
That's so crazy. Like for me, I like have an assignment due, and I'm like, he's like doing every detail, like every step I take, and you, and 5,000 other people across the world, and 10,000,
all for his glory.
And he just knows. He knows they're gonna be fine.
Like, he literally has you.
It's so crazy.
It's so crazy. Like, he has so much power. We can't even comprehend. We literally.
I think my brain would explode.
No,
it
would. We would explode, and I can't wait to be with him in heaven. And he's like gonna reveal it all to me. And
I'm gonna drop dead. But I guess I'm already dead.
In sync. Like, we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
But that's why I wait.
Okay.
Anywho,
last thing to close it off with my prodigal. Ansley. What would you tell someone that is unsure?
You know in your heart that you are lost. That's all I got. Like, because at the end of the day, who you are when you are alone in your room reflects your heart.
Who are you in your bedroom at night?
And I promise you, seek and you will find.
Yeah.
Seek God and you will find truth. Because it's all about intention at the end of the day. And he has changed my life, and he has changed so many lives. And you can say all you want. If you talk with us, we're real. We're real people. We have peace. Yeah. And that is such a hard thing to believe in this world.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yay! She's my first official person, so this is super exciting.
And I'm sure there's plenty of other stories we could get into.
Oh, for sure. Especially us knowing each other on a personal level.
This was just the...
Yeah.
You know.
So she knew the truth. She just decided to
turn my head away.
Yeah.
And
she ran back home. And what happened when she ran back home? He welcomed her with a big hug and a kiss and a robe and a ring and shoes. And that's the prodigal son story. And it's the most beautiful story ever. Because he doesn't go, we need to talk. He goes, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're back home.
He does. He loves us so much. We will never be able to imagine. Like, we can't even imagine. We can try all we want, but we won't. No. It's just tremendous.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. We love y'all. We love Jesus. We hope that this story touches you. I know it will.
Love Jesus.
Yep. So, all right. Y'all have a good night.
We need an outro.
Outro. I'm not fancy enough for no outro. My outro's going to turn off this camera.
prodiGAL out.